We're live?
Now,
We're live?
it's time.
That voice you're hearing, Eric Rediger, on Sweat Equity Podcast, your entrepreneurial business advice with some sloppy dick jokes.
Very sloppy.
I'm your host, Law Smith. We're about that hashtag girthy ROI, hashtag 69B2B. Help businesses that help you. You get it back in that 69 kind of yin-yang way. And hashtag Sweat Equity Pod.
Yeah.
Get the conversation going on all our, comment on our stuff. We don't care. Give a rate review on Apple Podcasts. Spotify, I don't think you can, you might be able to review.
I don't know. I don't ever use Spotify, so.
You can share it. Yeah, you're an Apple Music guy.
Well, that's the one I'm paying for, buddy.
They
seem to have everything.
I'm going to trim down the sponsors because we have sponsors for the show, but it kind of eats up a little bit too much time in the front. If you want the links to these sponsors, they'll be in the episode description. Grasshopper is your business phone line. If you have a Google Voice number, you're a jabroni. Get a real business line with at trygrasshopper.com/sweat. You get $50 off. Next sponsor is FreshBooks. If you're using Xero, Xero, or you're using QuickBooks, you're in the jabroni zone. I'm a little hoarse right now. You hear my voice going in and out. Go freshbooks.com/sweat. It'll get you a discount off your FreshBooks account. Do your accounting, do your invoicing. You can do all your expenses. And here's the real big thing that it's not in the copy, but it's direct deposit next day.
Ooh.
Look, some of them have this way of holding your money for 7 days.
Yeah.
7 business days, which is that's more than a week.
Oh, they're doing that. They get that little bit of extra money in their account, and they collect that interest for 2 days, and they just, when you do it for millions of people, it adds up.
Hey, yeah, and I lob the convenience fee over on them for that transactional cost because it'll be about all of them are standard at 2.5 or higher percent to do a transaction or invoice. So put that on the client or embed that in the cost if you really want some good advice.
There you go, right off the bat.
Yeah, and Warby Parker, warbyparkertrial.com/sweat. Get 5 pairs of glasses or sunglasses with prescriptions in them. Try them at home. If they can fit my horse head, they can fit yours. And that is warbyparkertrial.com/sweat. Go on our episode description if you want to link. And look, we don't have a promo code, so if you got to hit that link, and you got to go through once you hit that link. So if you go to it, get ADD, try to go back to that link, or else it won't work.
Yeah, well, if they've got ADD, good luck.
I'm just saying, man, that might stick with you because that was a weird kind of way of telling everybody. But let's get the show started.
Oh, okay.
What about my sweat equity? Sweat equity. Sweat equity. My sweat equity. My sweat equity. What about my sweat equity?
I'll put on my Warby Parkers.
Oh, you're smart now.
I look smart. I only got them for meetings.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. There's not even glass in here.
I know. Well, there's glass, but it's not prescription glass.
Well,
it's like plastic that you get
cups
out of.
It's plastic because I'm clumsy.
Yeah.
What is it with we both have younger kids two each, and what is their obsession with taking your glasses and fucking them up?
Oh, I don't know. My kids don't really mess with my glasses too much.
Really? You have sweet kids?
Well, no, they mess up other stuff, just not
like
the
what?
glasses. Name it. Look around. You came into my house. Jeez, this place is a walking disaster zone.
Our makeshift. Well, I thought that was your guard dog, Polly. But we're in the makeshift sweat lodge.
He's part of the problem, for sure.
Until we find the new home. I got cocky and thought, we'd be in WeWork as a new studio office, and man, that is. I need to show you how big. They're like, you can take a video. I was like, I don't need to, of the layout of one of them. So they just opened in downtown Tampa.
So it's like a shared office space idea, right?
They are like the premier co-working space. Now their angle is interesting, and I talked to a lot of people about if they actually. So their angle is, their big sell is you'll meet a lot of people. We have free beer for happy hour. My head immediately went to
What?
I won't ever use that. Like, I'll
Right.
leave as soon as I'm done.
Yeah, that's the last thing I want to do.
So that's the ruse, right? So it's like, I think maybe in some areas, I think when it started, it was a lot more startup incubator kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's really like, you might have a Microsoft office that is in your city and they just need a makeshift one until they have a bigger office or something.
Right.
Right. And so it's more of like those guys are taking a bigger office, like more legit, more established businesses. And I'm like, I don't think this is going to. Now, I thought it would be a good idea to pick off maybe specialists for digital.
Uh-huh.
Because if they have you can rent a desk, you can rent an office, but the offices are, it's like I used to work for Sola Salon Studios, which is a salon suite concept. This doesn't help all the guys that listen to this episode. Basically,
It could be anything. It could be any sort of franchise idea. Like you have your own little spot.
you have when I did the salon studio system, the franchise I was with, the whole franchise system, basically they're like the best at it in their category. But they would tell stylists, you run your own salon, we'll take the overhead out of it. And, you can do it in under 100 square feet, and you can. So you can get 3 people in there or you can get 4 humans in one of those and have a fine salon and not have to have a whole big one where you need to hire a receptionist, all that shit. And so it's like they looked at what Sola was doing. I know this probably didn't happen, but they basically, the reason this got in my head was when I used to have to do the salon leases, right?
Mm-hmm.
Salon studio leases, you try to sell the one that has the load-bearing post in it first.
What do you mean?
Because that's the hardest one to get leased.
Like literally in the load bearing of
Like
the
there's
building?
there's gonna be one that's gonna have like, they're not gonna be a perfect square.
Oh, it's gonna be like the shitty spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you sell the worst one first.
Right,
If you
okay.
have if you're doing, I'm sure you do this with offices, like bigger offices, or you do this with, there's a version of this in like anything that's just brand new, and you gotta get people in there, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to get rid of the worst one first. Like
Right.
that's the first one she showed me. I was like, why'd you show me this one?
Yeah.
I know these tricks.
Yeah.
I might have said that in the room too. I was like, well, I appreciate you showing me the one that has like unusable space. Basically.
Anytime I'm getting sold something, I'll call them out. I'm like, I know what you're gonna do.
Well, so I'm gonna show
Are
you.
you gonna tell me why I might need this?
So there was like, so they have little spaces that were like, you can fit it. They go by desk. It's kind of clever. They go, you can rent a 1 desk, a 2 desk kind of unit, which is like, they already have desks in there. So it's kind of like, I bet most people are like, I don't need to. When I look, it reminded me of being in a dorm, and like you have like your loft. You had to like make a loft in your dorm to make space to work.
Yeah.
I walked by like 4 miserable people in the dark. Like they could have been doing work, or they could have been programmers, but they were like, it's 2 people like back to back to back kind of thing.
Ugh.
It's just like, it was a bummer. It was like a computer lab in college back in the day.
But it is
That's
kind
what it
of
felt like.
their permanent area, right? Like you
You've
rent
got
it.
You've got a mailing
you can
address.
Go in and
yeah.
okay, so
you
it's
can
not
go.
like
You can go in whenever you want. I asked about for if we were to use it for this show. It gets a little tricky because it's like you and I would have a pass, and then it's like anybody else. It'd be kind of a pain in the ass, I think. So
like just bringing new people into the building
to like give access. So if we had John Paul come in and produce a lot, it's like we'd have to figure out like almost. You ever do this when you're younger? When you went to the movies, you had a bunch of buddies to go see Mortal Kombat or something, something good,
or whatever.
Or I mean, whatever, Titanic. And you 2 guys buy tickets, and then you go back out, get the 2 stubs,
Sure, yeah.
bring a buddy in, and then you just keep doing
With
that.
like wristbands to concerts sort of thing.
Yeah, almost like a daisy chain of just sneaking your friends in.
Yeah.
And so we would have to kind of do something like that if we had. You can't fit that many
But
people
we're not
in there.
special. We don't get special treatment though. We can't just get.
No.
They can't just treat us special. Okay, fine.
Well, no. Well, they were treating me special because they got the. I think the tour guide got the image that I wasn't an attorney or like super professional.
I wonder where you got that image.
Maybe
Your
you know
clothes?
what I did? I asked I never do this usually, but when you go to a meeting and they're like, "Do you want any coffee or water?" I took the water.
Oh,
Shouldn't have done that.
power move.
No, I shouldn't have done it.
Why?
You never take it.
I thought you always take it.
I thought you never take it.
Well, we've got a problem here.
I'm gonna have to look that up later.
Fucking wrong here.
Meeting coffee.
Maybe it's when you're being held hostage. You always take the food or water to show them you're not scared.
Oh, okay.
But really, is it any different? It's not any different.
I was scared.
There you go.
I mean, we were pretty high up there. We were on like the 18th floor or something.
I didn't realize it's in a skyscraper.
It's in a refurb building. Yeah, you dropped me off right there.
Oh, that was the building. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an older building that they basically they got a good deal on it.
I pictured like an old port building.
So that's the allure. Like what they did in Chicago when I first heard about them, like maybe 10 years ago, and they have a mural of that Jordan poster, but it's like a cool artsy one. It's I'll find that too. But I
know exactly what you're talking about. I have a painting that I did based off of that.
Oh really?
Yeah. It's hanging up in my house.
Yeah. I forgot about that. So what's it called? But it's like they can get away with the hipster kind of ish, the millennial, like they can get away with being in a bad building that they refurb. Like the parts they have are good, but and then there was like parking's like we don't really have it, and it's like, well, shit,
you can't
downtown
drive
parking's like I can walk, but it was still like if anybody was going to come over there, it was a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
so
fuck that.
So
it was a pain in the ass down in Ybor.
Yeah,
I'd better run down, let people.
Which is like a little bar area of Tampa, and that's overgrown in the 4 years that I had the office there, and there's some other options we've got around town. There's a lot of co-working spaces, and if most people are not in the Tampa Bay area, there's a bunch of options now if you're in any kind of city.
Yeah, it's definitely like a thing. Might not be WeWork, but it's not
that
hard to like.
Look, I'm going to show you a video of the room that they're like, you can take video of it. I'm like, there's no way I'm getting it at this price, but I want you to guess how much this costs per month.
All right, and this is good podcasting.
It's real quick. It's a real quick video.
Okay, that is about 20 by 20 room tops. Not even 10 by. Okay, that I'm going to guess.
It's a 4-desk.
You're asking me because it's something outrageous, so I'm going to guess it's higher. I'm going to say $3,200 a month.
Oh, you went prices right too low, but you'd win. It's $4,500 for a 4-desk, as they call it, and then it's like.
I wonder what that office space is going to be next when they go out of business.
No, I bet people take it.
You might for like lawyers and stuff.
No.
Like, I don't know what else. Who's going to be throwing around that kind of money and doesn't have their own place? It just seems high.
I think contingency. I think when you're like a huge conglomerate kind of company that like they just need something temporary, or they need to look a little bit more prestigious than they might be too.
Yeah.
Or international businesses too when they need an office.
Yeah. But I mean, don't people know that it's like a shared space sort of thing?
But you get access to the other WeWorks around the country. So if you were a group that is in a lot of cities and needs to post up, that is a huge advantage, I would say. When I was traveling a lot, like when I was doing stand up and working and having to go on the road for both, that would have been awesome. Where I could get out of the shitty hotel I was staying in, motel, and wherever I was getting booked for stand up, or the bad hotel I was put in for work, whatever it was, and then be able to have a space to go to.
Yeah, that's kind of cool, I guess.
That would be advantageous, I would say, if you're traveling like that and you work for a small business. For this though, it's like
there's no way. I mean,
it's just an interesting model. I bet they fill it up. And look, if they have to do what we did with Sola, you can lower the price that first year, get it occupied, and they can just raise it up.
Yeah, I mean,
over time.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
There's a whole other set of offices. That was one half. There's already a whole other set that were full.
I was going to say, it looked like huge. There's people already in there.
Yeah, so fun times.
Are people that desperate? It just seems like, how is it easier to do that than just go look for your own little tiny office? In an industrial park.
Great. Again, the sell is that you're going to be around a lot of movers and shakers,
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It just seems like a place for lonely people.
Well, that's what they're selling. I mean, that's why podcasts are intriguing. Ooh, Are we kind of offset in the frame here?
Yes, we are. It's
All
been like that the whole time. You can see it very clearly.
Okay. Well, you know, I'm vamping.
Oh, you're in the zone.
I'm
right?
I'm vamping. I'm sharing this on Facebook, so we have a watch party going.
Oh, okay.
If anybody's had to do any video, yeah, get away from me a little bit.
Sorry, I was trying to. I
Trying to
don't know
get
what I was trying to do. I was playing that 90s R&B before you got here.
Yeah, what's up with
Love
that?
Making
You were trying to bang me or something?
It was just the next thing that we had on our Sonos. The playlist that I had was a 90s playlist going.
Was that for you and the missus?
It's for the whole family, baby. Everybody loves it.
Baby,
Return of the Mac.
I'm together. I like the breakdown.
Return of the Mac.
The breakdown in between the Boys to Men song. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Like that shit just doesn't fly anymore.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
Well, I don't know why.
So, anyways, what are you doing? You're just
I'm
dicking
sharing.
around
I'm
on
sharing
Facebook.
this. No, look, man, this isn't a show where you come in and you go, "Hey, let's look at two guys doing Facebook."
Well, I
Well,
mean,
look, I'm sharing it as we're going. I'm telling the story. Don't get all radio weird about a little radio silent.
fine. I'll just sit here quietly then. See how that goes.
I want to make fun of the Irishman because we haven't gotten to make fun of that yet,
Oh, yeah.
and just how bad of a movie that is. Well, I mean, I go back and forth here, and here's something that kind of you can extrapolate into kind of the business world a little bit, where, you know, when you have an opinion on something, is it really your opinion? Dig. So
I know what you're going to say.
So it's like, all right. So I didn't love it. I thought it was a B minus movie.
I'm the same way. I wasn't like, oh, man, it was amazing.
Part of me gets derailed though, because like it was immediately like anybody I told, except for you, really, everybody I told was like, either you're a hater, like, because there's already that out there, right? Because it's easy to hate when
Sure.
something big like that's out there, or like, but maybe I liked it because the nostalgia of me liking Scorsese movies and all those actors and
Well,
stuff.
sure. I mean,
I think
you're
nostalgia
not a
is
hater
big...
when you bring evidence of why it sucks. Like Robert De Niro puttering around like he's this badass.
Well, the shopkeeper scene where he
Horrible.
he takes
How did they let that fly?
So-
no, but how many people are working on this movie that somebody's like, he wasn't even close?
could have used an edit. It's 3.5 hours long. Maybe a half-second edit. All right, so people, if you haven't seen it, it's not going to spoil it because you're going to see it and you're probably going to be like, did this just morph into wrestling for a minute?
Is he supposed to be hurting him or threatening him with what could happen?
It looked like 90s wrestling, the way that fight scene or the bashing scene. So De Niro's like daughter gets scolded or gets reprimanded by her shopkeeper employer.
Mm-hmm.
She's like a little girl, like 12 or something. And so he's like, what? And he takes her down there and pulls the guy out and then is supposed to beat him up. But De Niro's, he's a little long in the tooth in real life. He's like 72.
Dude, yeah.
And he's not moving so well. Like he's supposed to be 45, I think, something like that.
When he's going to get rid of the guns and he tries to throw them into the river, he can't even he can't even lift his arm up above his shoulder. Like, it was just like, oh, he's like barely getting those off.
Well,
like,
I feel like a lot of old Italian guys. I think of Lou from College Game Day.
Lou Brown?
No.
What?
God damn it! What's the old guy on College Game Day?
Oh, Lou Holtz?
No. He's not on there anymore. He was the worst.
Used to be.
I
didn't know there was any other Lou's.
Game Day. Oh, maybe it's not Lou. God, my brain's not working. I got a migraine. For
What?
Cool sinuses. Thanks a lot,
Very cool.
God. I'm gonna put it in College Game Day crew. It'll come up. So Lee Corso, that's who I meant.
Oh.
So I noticed he's like an old Italian guy that doesn't know how to wave to people. He waves like this.
Yes, I've seen
And
that.
there's like an old Italian and like it's not effeminate, but it's like a limp
I
wristed.
don't know how to do this new age waving bullshit.
Right. And I feel like when he's throwing the guns in, he's doing it like he's shucking from the hip a little bit, like without moving his elbows. It's all wrists.
He was doing it like somebody who ate some food that they didn't want to eat and was just trying to get rid of it real quick to the dog. It was
Yeah.
just like this little like underhanded flip that was just like, I think that's all he's got. I don't think he's got anything left in the tank. He
So-
doesn't bring any gas.
So in that shopkeeper scene, he's like clearly like he's supposed to stomp on this guy, and it looks like 80s wrestling, like 1980s wrestling, where they're so far away from them.
Wasn't even close.
Or the first Rocky, if you watch the fight scenes, were really bad. They're so far away from the person that they're supposed to be hitting, and I'm like, how did this get through?
Dude, it's crazy, and it's a 3.5 hour long movie.
It's $160 million.
I don't understand what Scorsese gets with the 3+ hours. It's like, to me, that's a negative. Like, you're doing these he had all these long, drawn out, super slow mo.
Well, that's how he does. That's his style, I'd say.
Sure, but there was a lot of it that it was just like, could have
Like
done
the
without that.
Goodfellas from outside to inside when they're bringing the table in. That they go through the kitchen, like those long no cut.
Yeah, that's kind of different. But this is not long. This is not actors doing an amazing job in a scene. This is just people where they're actually only filming 2 seconds and they're going at 9,000 frames per second, and then they can take and make it 30 seconds of nothing happening.
Everybody liked a demure Pesci. I don't like it. I don't like a reserved Pesci. I think that I think the acting was better. He looked like he looked like an old lady to me.
Right.
Like,
yes.
for whatever
with those glasses on?
With the glasses, he looked like the old Navy lady from the old Navy commercials in the 90s.
I don't remember that.
Oh, man, I'm going to pull that up. You're going to be like, wow. But yeah, he looked like kind of an old transvestite.
Yeah, well, I kept being like, wait, is that old person makeup? Is that what they look like actually now? Or are they trying to make them look young? What is happening?
Yeah. You don't remember this lady?
Oh, yeah, that's who he does look like, yes.
What is her name? Carrie
Nobody's
Donovan.
gonna know.
No, I think she was like an old celebrity they brought back for those
glasses.
ads. But yeah, it was one of those things where the other Sebastian Maniscalco is the best thing in the movie.
Yeah.
As Crazy Joe Gallo, I think is his name.
Yeah.
And Don Rickles, played by Jim Norton, both. He fucking nailed it.
Did not even pay attention to that being Jim Norton.
You didn't know that was him?
I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, that's Rickles. He's supposed to, and he was like Rickles was like his mentor in a way, I think, or like he had like some weird connection with him.
Oh, with Norton?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're the fucking ultimate ball busters. It's just gnarliest of each generation.
My dad saw Rickles in Vegas. He was like, that guy is it's amazing how many he's just riffing off. But I thought that was done so well. I think it overshadowed me with the rest of the movie.
Yeah, the Sebastian Maniscalco part's definitely perfect. Just he's the perfect guy for that part. But
it was a lot of drawn out shit with not a lot of payoff.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say at the same time I liked it, but could they have just pulled all that out? I think they probably could have. There's a lot of stuff where it's like you're just doing it to make it a big thing.
My overall criticism's like True Detective season 2, in that it's not as good as the first season, but it's still better than almost 99% of what's out there.
I don't know. Season 2 was bad.
It's
3 good.
I haven't watched it.
1 good.
But I'm saying like it's still good, but it was so close to season 1, and they rushed it. You could tell.
I mean, Vince Vaughn, that whole thing.
I love Vince Vaughn.
I know, but I didn't. I thought it was just the worst. He wasn't believable. Like, he was supposed to be a badass, and it was just like, I don't know.
I think it was
kind of ruined it for me.
I think the editing with his whole storyline was rushed. It felt like
maybe, but the season 2 was definitely.
I'm saying, but it's still better than like almost everything I watch.
Maybe. I don't know. There's so much good shit out there, though.
There is, but Netflix. I mean, they put out a lot of dog shit too.
Oh, for sure.
They're like, well, what are people interested in? And this is when you go. And this is kind of business meets creative, where you go, do we give the people what they want, or do we push what we think is good?
Right.
And Netflix is totally kind of at one point catered to just almost idiocracy, basic like wants. It's like I saw like a documentary about puppies, and it's just literally just like puppy. I wouldn't call it puppy porn because that wouldn't. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's just like. It's just like, it's not even a documentary.
Like
I put it on. I was like, I'm going to see what this is about.
Yeah.
And it was just like.
They put a lot of bad British stuff on there that we will watch and think, Well, they do have the accents, so
Right.
maybe
It's
good.
low self-esteem, so that's playing to that. Like we're like, well, they're better than us. So
But I think that percentage-wise, the British shit there's much worse British TV than there is American TV.
well, yeah.
Ratios-wise, I mean, volume-wise, America puts out a ton of it, so there's that. But
In
They get away
Bollywood,
with a lot of
Bollywood has the
shit. Oh, well,
highest percentage because they still
yes.
dance after every movie.
Right.
That
after every movie, after
that would-
every scene.
that would throw me off. Yeah, everything's a musical. No thanks. Now,
Yeah, I
Korean
don't-
movies, that's when you're getting really hardcore, like dark.
Oh yeah,
Have you ever watched any like?
Human Centipede.
Is that Korean?
I don't know.
I think
It's
that's
the first
I
thing
think
that came up.
that's Swedish. I want to say. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
You never watched the original Old Boy?
No.
That one is worth watching. It's one of the best revenge movies probably the best revenge movie of all time, and
It's
still really fucked up.
Is it like Korean as the English subtitles?
Yeah, but you don't need. It's not that much reading. It's a lot of the one fight scene with a hammer is like this guy like
Fight scene with a hammer. I'm sold.
he basically the beginning of the movie is like he's in a weird jail prison but it's in an apartment that he's trapped in, and he just it's like a montage of him working out over years and just teaching himself how to fight
right
every
Rocky
day.
style.
So just basically think about yourself like
I've seen Rocky 4. I know what it looks like.
no, I was thinking about I think we all have that fantasy. I think we're all interested in the Castaway kind of, or you're stuck in a cabin by yourself. I'll call it a fantasy, but it's not like something that's super fun.
You don't even know how hard I'm working. I'm
But
gonna
like-
come back and burst onto the scenes and whoop your ass.
But what would you do if you're stuck in a small apartment for years? And you get gassed every now and again, and you can't help it. So this
Gassed, as
music would come
like-
in, and it would gas and we'd pass out, and they'd clean the place up, and
so not like getting tired, gassed.
yeah, like knockout gas.
Yes, but different terminology.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
Poisonous gas.
this all comes back to kind of working because I'm going to dovetail this.
WeWork does have that feature.
I've been
Where are your gas
I've been on a
lines?
good work tear like the last 72 hours. I've been kind of going ham, and a lot of it's in the organizational area. Like, all right, I've been putting off trying to sync contacts from iCloud, my Gmail, and Outlook. That is a fucking huge pain in the ass. I didn't realize it
Yeah.
because it's all different people.
Yeah.
And then they all don't talk to each other really well.
Mhm.
And then I added a fourth dimension, which if you go to LinkedIn, here's kind of pragmatic advice for people. You can export all your contact if you sync everything. So if you do the integration where you can go, hey, have access to my Gmail, so you can pull in all my contacts. You can do that with Facebook too.
Mhm.
They kind of ask you a billion times, hey, do you want to add your contacts so you can find more friends?
So we can get more of your information.
Exactly. So it's another integration, another thing. But I'm in the mode where I'm in a B2B kind of sales list area where I'm trying to look at all the accounts I've had over the last 4 years, and then all the people I've talked to that have been interested in getting some marketing help from me, us, the new company I'm with. And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm trying to, I got where you see me freak out, walk in the office, I'm like going bonkers, where I made this too big of a fucking deal
Right.
instead of just chipping away at it.
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm like, I got to make one big fucking master list. And
This
I got
is a huge thing I'm gonna.
but this will
do.
be more accurate. And this will ultimately save time if I figure this out.
Sure.
It would.
The end product is a big thing,
It-
but the
and
work that goes into it is little tiny works.
But it would
You
have
just
to
do little
be,
tiny things.
and it gets me to plane brain, where if I sat on a plane from Tampa to LA for 5-hour flight, 5.5-hour flight or whatever, and there's no Wi-Fi, right? I might be able to hammer out that whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for whatever reason, I and a lot of people have this. It's a hard. I don't know why that is such an obstacle to go. I'm going to turn everything off. I'm working from home until we get in office. That's distracting as shit for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, I can get a load of laundry here, get the dishes done
that's
here.
the thing.
You know, I'll take a break and do those, and then.
When you're a grown up, you have a never-ending list of things that you could be doing.
But if you locked me in a room like old boy for the whole day, I would have done that, and I would have been way further ahead. Instead, it's been a month of being just like going, oh fuck, what? And then you're trying to figure out, do you figure that out? Like, what's the road to go down? Because you're behind on both ways now.
Yeah.
So
it is a weird thing to be able to just turn it off.
And then we got Pipe Drive
Focus
CRM too. So I'm trying to get this all ready for a CRM. That's what makes it a little difficult too. And we there's no like, we're also writing our internal playbook in our CRM. Like, what information do you want on everybody?
Yeah.
Newsflash, asshole!
I know.
I will tell you the best thing about being in a B2B area. Because I think one thing as we're going through a lot of podcast episodes in the near future is me trying to figure out a strategy that works and then kind of showing you what I got at the end of it to see if we can kind of open source it or like white label it for the show.
Yeah. Or at least just show people what we've tried.
Well,
it helps.
So what's cool about B2B in a real small to medium business sector? So I say that with, small to medium to a lot of people mean they think they open a pizza shop on the corner and that's a small business. Technically you are, but like if you're really going by like business school, Harvard Business Review or something, like real business stuff, a small business, you're getting about 5 to 10 million in revenue a year. I would consider that pizza shop a local business or micro nano or startup.
Yeah.
And so the last 4 years have been a lot of that group, micro, nano, local, startup, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what's good about that is you can kind of go, here's all the things I know. Check it out, right? There's a lot of cool shit you can tell them that they don't know yet.
Yeah.
And that there's something that's satisfying about that. On the B2B level, now I'm kind of going back to a thing where I have to call a lot of people and say, well, here's what I'm doing now. I'm with this firm, and if you need anything. And I'm like, oh yeah. What's great about it is like you can do this
resources now.
Well, you can be more blunt. It's like I've got resources for sure. That's great, and it's one of those things though.
But that's why you.
When I'm doing these discovery meetings, it's like, what's your revenue? And it's not like a weird conversation where a lot of people don't want to open up their books in a small level. And
yeah.
Like, I can figure this shit out.
Right. Yeah.
Like y'all have a dental practice.
Thing. Yeah.
I could probably figure out a P&L that's close to what y'all are doing without you telling me anything.
Exactly.
And then it's like the thing of like, how many employees do you have? And like, just being able to have that conversation that sometimes it was like, they would never tell you. And you're like, but you're not
I'm trying to help you here.
Right. You're not going to do this strategy correctly. And then you're going to employ us to do something you don't know how to manage. So it's one of those things where that's been really nice, where it's a lot more, let's get to work. And that's what the B2B sector is always better on.
Yeah, I could see it being like they're past the like, do I need this? Can I do this by myself? Can I do, like,
or even entertaining just someone coming out of their way. Like they're not offended if you're talking to them about, hey, do you need help with this?
Sure. Well, they're grown up businesses. I know, they're like they're like you're dealing with. You've got child businesses and then you've got more mature businesses.
That's what's so refreshing about it. It's like, oh, I don't have to like. This isn't daycare like.
Yeah.
Trying to pull it out of them.
Yeah.
So more on that. We got a narcissism test I want to talk about later on. We got some other shiz. Oh, wait, before we go, did you see the Beak Room documentary? Speaking of Netflix.
We started. I just saw the preview and I was like, oh yeah, this is right up our alley.
Dude, so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slamming puss, huh?
Yeah, raping a lot of people.
Oh, okay. I didn't know he was doing it without permission, but.
Yoga is a weird thing where it's, if you're an atheist, probably really into it, right? You're an atheist that's into it. That becomes your religion. That was kind of my takeaway. Before I forget, Irishman. I didn't know a big deal. What's his nose? Pacino's playing Jimmy Hoffa. I didn't know A, he was a big deal, and B, my other theory is Andrew Wang is doing a Jimmy Hoffa-like move as president. He's going after the drivers to get votes. With the number one occupation in the country is?
Truck drivers.
It's truck drivers, and then you can count in the rideshare people that do it part time. Now you've got now I'm giving you universal basic income, $1,000 a month, which, by the way, no one's told me how that doesn't devalue our dollar, but okay.
You just throw that out there right before we're done.
Yeah. All right.
I'm not going to explain it to you.
Someone explain the macroeconomics of that to me.
The devaluation of the dollar is coming from them printing too much of it, not from handing it out.
Who's handing?
Last word. I got the last word.
Ah, shit.
Sweat equity.
Sucker. SweatEquityPod.com. Wall doesn't know he's coming.
Sweat equity.
Bye.
Sweat equity.